You said something you didn't have to say, and the moment it left your mouth, you felt it. That shift in the room, that look on their face, that slow sinking feeling that you just gave someone power over you. And that is exactly where most people lose themselves. Not in loud disasters, but in small, unnecessary words. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago, and most people still haven't figured it out. Your silence is not weakness. It is a weapon, and very few people ever learn how to use it. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover 9 situations where staying completely silent makes you more powerful, more respected, and far harder to shake. Stay until the end, because number 7 is where most people lose everything without even realizing it. Because silence, when chosen with discipline, is not emptiness, it is control, it is restraint, it is power held in reserve. That is why Stoicism, the ancient philosophy practiced by Roman emperors, generals, and even slaves, began with one radical truth. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And sometimes, the most powerful response is no response at all. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men who ever lived, wrote privately in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Not power over people, not power over outcomes, power over your own mind. That is where silence lives. That is where the truly strong operate from. Now let's get into it. 1. When you're being criticized unfairly. Someone comes at you, hard, unfairly, maybe in front of others, and every single nerve in your body screams, defend yourself. Here's the trap. The moment you start defending, you've already lost. Think about it. When you react emotionally to criticism, you're essentially handing that person a remote control to your inner world. One press of a button and you jump. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change." Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say he'd immediately fight back. He didn't say he'd launch a counterattack. He said he'd consider it. That pause, that moment of deliberate silence, is where your power lives. Here's the practical truth. Unfair criticism almost always reveals more about the critic than it does about you. Their frustration, their insecurity, their bad day. When you stay silent, you give them nothing to grab onto. You don't escalate, you don't shrink, you simply don't play. And here's what nobody tells you about this. Your silence in that moment, it doesn't go unnoticed. Not by the people watching, not by the person criticizing. It signals something they weren't expecting: control. The next time someone attacks your work, your character, or your choices without real cause, pause for 3 full seconds before you even consider responding. In those 3 seconds, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Most times the answer will be no. Stay quiet. Let your work speak. Let time reveal the truth. 2. When someone is bragging. We've all been in the room. Someone is going on and on about their promotion, their income, their new car, their connections, and the social pressure builds. You feel the urge to match them, top them, remind everyone that you've also done something worth noticing. Resist it completely. Epictetus, a man who was born a slave and became one of the most celebrated philosophers in history, taught something extraordinary. He said, "Seek not that the things that happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life." In other words, your worth does not need external validation in this moment. When someone brags, they are performing. They need the audience. They need the reaction. And if you give it to them, either by matching them or by appearing threatened, you become part of their performance. But when you stay quiet, when you smile and genuinely congratulate them, and then say nothing more, you become the most interesting person in the room. Silence in the face of boasting is not humility, it is superiority of the quiet, unshakable kind. The person who doesn't need to say it is always more powerful than the person who does. 3. When you're angry. This might be the most important one, because this is the one where silence costs you the most to practice and pays you back the most when you do. Anger is fast, reason is slow, and words fired in anger are almost impossible to take back. Marcus Aurelius again asked himself this question in his private journals. How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the circumstances that aroused it? Read that again. The thing that made you angry, usually manageable. The explosion that followed, that's where the real damage happens. Think about every relationship you've ever seen damaged or destroyed by words said in anger. Things that were true but didn't need to be said. Things that weren't even true but couldn't be unsaid. Here's what the Stoics practiced instead. When anger rises, go quiet first. Not forever, not passive-aggressively, but genuinely quiet, long enough for the first wave of emotion to pass. Because that first wave, it lies to you. It tells you the situation is more dangerous than it is. It tells you the other person is more of an enemy than they are. It tells you that you need to strike right now. You don't. In a moment, we'll talk about a situation where staying silent can literally save your reputation overnight. But first, when you feel anger rising in your chest, try this. Close your mouth, take one slow breath through your nose, and mentally say the word observe. Not react, observe. The anger will still be there, but you'll be the one holding it instead of it holding you. 4. In the middle of false rumors. People are talking about you, and what they're saying isn't true. Your instinct is to correct the record, immediately, loudly, set everyone straight. Here's why that almost never works. When you react emotionally to a false rumor, you do 3 things. You confirm that it matters to you. You keep the conversation alive, and you invite more scrutiny, not less. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Responding to rumors puts you in the same emotional space as the people spreading them. You descend to the level of the thing you're fighting. The Stoic move is different. It's colder, it's quieter, and it's devastatingly effective. You live your truth so consistently, your actions so clearly tell a different story, that the rumor eventually suffocates on its own. Think about this. A lie needs oxygen to survive. Every time you argue against it, you breathe oxygen into it. The teacher who was falsely accused, the leader whose motives were questioned, the professional whose character was attacked. The ones who survived with their reputations intact, they didn't fight the rumor, they outlived it. Stay with me through number 6, because what we cover there is something most people completely mishandle, and it costs them years of unnecessary conflict. 5. When confronting loss. Loss breaks something open in us. And the world, social media, well-meaning friends, our own restless minds, immediately tries to fill that silence with noise, with explanations, with silver linings, with premature resolution. But sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is sit inside the silence of grief. The Stoics didn't teach emotional suppression. That's a common misreading. They taught presence with emotion, feeling it fully, but not being consumed by it.
Seneca wrote, "The day which we fear as our last is but the birthday of eternity." That's not a dismissal of pain, it's a reframe of impermanence. Everything arrives, everything passes, including loss itself. C.S. Lewis, in the aftermath of losing his wife, didn't rush to find comfort or explanation. He sat with the silence. He wrote through it. And what emerged was some of the most honest, profound writing about grief ever put on paper, because he gave the silence room to speak. When you lose something real, a person, a relationship, a version of yourself, the silence that follows isn't empty. It's where the healing actually starts. Don't rush to fill it. 6. When dealing with ignorance. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Not every argument is worth having. Not every wrong idea needs your correction. Not every ignorant statement requires your response. And learning to know the difference, that is genuine wisdom. Galileo knew the earth moved around the sun. The entire religious and academic establishment of his time said he was wrong. He had the evidence, he had the math, He was right. And for a significant part of his life, he chose, strategically, when to speak and when to go quiet. Because here's what Marcus Aurelius understood, quote, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." Arguing with someone who is not genuinely open to being wrong is not noble. It is a drain, it is a trap, and it almost never ends with them saying, "You know what? You're right." The Stoic move is to offer your perspective once, clearly, and then release the outcome. You cannot force understanding into a closed mind, but you can refuse to let that closed mind borrow your peace. The most dangerous person in any debate is not the loudest one. It's the one who knows exactly when to stop talking. 7. When your integrity is being tested. Here's the one I promised you. Someone, in a meeting, in a group chat, in a conversation, says something that directly contradicts your values, or puts you in a position where speaking up could cost you something real, your job, a friendship, social approval. And every instinct tells you, stay quiet, don't rock the boat. This is where silence becomes the wrong weapon, because there are two kinds of silence in this framework, and it's critical to know the difference. Strategic silence, choosing not to respond because your response would cause more damage than silence would. Cowardly silence, choosing not to respond because you are afraid. One is power, one is its complete opposite. Epictetus, again, a man who was literally owned by someone else, taught that external circumstances could never strip a person of their inner freedom. The only thing that could do that was the person themselves, through compromise of character. When your integrity is genuinely on the line, that is not the moment for strategic silence. That is the moment to speak, calmly, directly, without anger, without performance, not to win, not to be right, but because some things are worth the cost of saying. Know the difference. The Stoics did. 8. When confronted with injustice. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison for a crime that was really just the act of being free in a country that hadn't decided yet whether that was legal. 27 years. And when he walked out of that prison, the world waited for the eruption, the vengeance, the righteous anger. What they got instead was something nobody expected, a quiet, profound, unshakable composure. Not because Mandela didn't feel anger, but because he understood something the Stoics taught centuries before him. The moment you become consumed by the injustice done to you, you give that injustice a second victory. It already took something from you once. Don't let it take your mind too. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to not be like your enemy." Mandela didn't just survive injustice, he transformed it. Not with a speech, not with retaliation, but with a sustained, decades-long demonstration of what a human being looks like when their inner life cannot be touched. That is Stoic silence at its most powerful. Not passive, not weak, devastating. When you face genuine injustice, and you will, the silence you practice isn't resignation, it's preservation. It's choosing where to put your energy so that when you do act, you act from strength instead of wound. 9. When someone tries to provoke you. Someone is trying to get a reaction out of you. They might know it, they might not, but they are, consciously or not, testing whether they can move you. Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Read that slowly. They didn't win because they provoked you. They won because you let yourself be provoked. Gandhi was physically attacked, insulted publicly, belittled, called a troublemaker by the most powerful empire on the planet. And his response, again and again, was a silence so complete that it became a force field. Because when you refuse to react to provocation, you communicate something that no comeback ever could. You don't have the power to move me. That is terrifying to someone who needs a reaction from you to feel powerful. Your silence, calm, clear, unbothered, is the most disorienting response you can give. It doesn't escalate, it doesn't diminish, it simply ends the game.
because you can't play a game with someone who refuses to pick up the pieces. 9 situations, one principle underneath all of them. You are not what you react to. The Stoics spent their lives, from palaces to prison cells, proving that the quality of a person's inner life is not determined by what happens to them. It is determined by what they choose to do with it. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they were not silent because they had nothing to say. They were silent because they understood the weight of words, and they refused to waste that weight. Here's what I want to leave you with. The next time you feel the pressure to respond, to defend, to argue, to explain, to retaliate, pause. Ask yourself, is this silence or is this surrender? Because one makes you smaller, and one makes you unstoppable. If this hit you somewhere real, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to go deeper into Stoic philosophy, subscribe, because there's a lot more where this came from.